Thanks, Ross. Good morning, everybody. Good to be back at it. Hope everybody enjoyed a week away from Clemson football as well. But good to be back going. Glad to be back at home. So it's a great opportunity for us. Excited about a night game in the Valley. That's always a lot of fun for our fans, and so I know everybody's excited about that. This is a really good football team coming in here. Very talented. 3 losses, but all of them a touchdown or less. And I think their 3 losses have come to 3 teams that are combined 22-2. So they've been in some very, very competitive games. They can score points on anybody. Really do a great job putting a lot of pressure on you offensively to have to match them because they move the ball on everyone. To me, this is certainly the most complete and best offense we've seen since Georgia. So really good group. Quarterback's a future pro, knows what the heck he's doing. I mean, they're really well coached. I think he's just an extension of the coach out on the field. It's very well coordinated as far as what they do offensively. They want to throw the football. I think they're 10th in the country in passing, so they know what they're doing. They got some really good skill. In totality, same thing. Best overall group of receivers as a group since Georgia. So really explosive offense. Again, do a lot of things to challenge you from a discipline standpoint with their run game and all the boots and swap boots off of it and play action shots. Quarterback is a factor with his legs as well, but he's a very accurate thrower and again a really veteran, experienced, savvy football player that's really well coached. Again, can't say that enough about how well coordinated they are on offense and what they do. So we got our hands full there. Physical up front, very talented running backs. 25, the freshman has really become an explosive player for him. Has made some huge plays, some critical situations for him. Huge challenge. And then over on the defensive side, same thing. Very aggressive, style of play. Really challenge you, try to disrupt you up front. Very good in the interior and on the edges with their D line. 2 or 3 of the best DNs we've seen this year as well. These guys really do a good job, with their physicality, their hands, knocking people down, knocking people's hands down. They just a really again well coordinated group that's not afraid to challenge you in all phases. So we got to play well. Got to continue to do the things that have gotten us to this point. And that's, number one, taking care of the ball, winning the big play margin, and we've been a very good third down team. They've been good third down offense, good third down defense, and that's been a huge factor for us. None more of those than the turnover margin and what we've been able to do throughout the year. So that's got us to this point. We got to continue to build on the things that we've done well, and we spent a lot of time these past couple of weeks really studying things we haven't done well and trying to make some improvement in those areas. But again, just excited to get back going. It's November coming up. Happy Halloween to everyone this week, and another great opportunity again in the Valley. I mean, two weeks ago we had the Ring of Honor with Kim Graham Miller, former Olympian, and C.J. Spiller going in the Ring of Honor. What a cool and special moment that was. And now we've got Hall of Fame inductions, Clemson Hall of Fame inductions this weekend with Tajh Boyd and Sammy Watkins, and then we've got 7 other great former athletes as well from the other sports that are going in. But super proud of Tajh and Sammy, and it's really fun for me to be able to be at this point in life where I get to see some of that type of stuff and reflect on those guys and honor those guys and what they meant. To me, it seems like they were here last week, playing. So it's kind of crazy that, they're at this point, but so well deserving and excited to be a part of that and celebrating with those guys. But, again, open date was good. Injury-wise, we're in as good a spot as we've been in a while. So hopefully, we can have a good week. It's going to be a tough practice today and tomorrow, but hopefully we can stay healthy this week and have all hands on deck Saturday night for a good Louisville team. Any questions?
How are they different with Shuck now compared to what they were doing with Plummer offensively or in the passing game?
I mean, they're just passing game wise. I mean, they're just very well coordinated through the play action game. I mean, it's a lot of stress on you, with the again what they do in the running game. They really want to throw the ball out to set the run game up. And if you really watch them when they've had some very critical situations late in games, they've gone to the run game, and the run game has bailed them out. But they got a lot of normal drop back shots and quick game and things that people do. But it's really more, they'll get in some pistol, they'll be underneath, and some true downhill play action shots, a lot of cross country routes, throwbacks. And again, a lot of the boots and swap boots that create conflict for your backers and your safeties. So just do a great job with it, man. I mean, it buys them time and protection as well. They're more play action oriented. It's very, remember Coach Petrino, it's what it looks like, in that. As far as style of play and kind of getting ready for that era of Louisville football, when we would play them. It was always one of the biggest challenges, going against them schematically because of all the misdirection, formations, movements, and, they're on the edge, they're downhill at you, they're running the counter, they're running the zone, they're running the quarterback, a screen game comes off of it, and then boom, here you go. It's a play action boot, buying time, set up, throw it back, or take a shot. But these receivers are really good. That number one is he's special, and he took the BC game over Friday night. When they had to have it, he had two huge down the field plays, one of them one-handed catch that really got him back in the game. So they got every aspect. To their offense, and I think how they call the plays is very, very well coordinated as well.
With Isaac Brown running back and how quick and explosive he is, how vital is it that you not only control the edges but also gap control with cutbacks that he seems really adept at exploiting?
Yeah, because they will run the stretch. They're an inside zone team too, but they'll try to get on, and they're going to definitely do that because that's an area that we've not been great at consistently enough of really setting the edge like we need to. We've given up some plays, and that's an area we got to improve. This month for sure, but they certainly will try to exploit that, and it's huge because they create distortion, and they will cut people too. So if they get you cut on the backside, you're really in trouble. And if you don't do a good job of squeezing, and the gap gets bigger, and it's a cutback lane, and he can hit it, and he can hit the home run. So he's a good football player. He's really gotten better and better as the season has gone, and you can see their confidence in him has grown as well.
Since maybe when I look at him and I see the speed on the perimeter, maybe the fastest team you've played since Georgia?
Oh yeah, there ain't no doubt. There ain't no doubt about it. These guys are 10th, like I said, 10th in the country in passing offense. They're 20th in scoring. They know what they're doing. They're very, very well schooled and coordinated and got dudes. It's really good speed out there. But the quarterback, he makes them go. He really knows what he's doing. Got a lot of respect. Didn't know much about him until really studying them. So a lot of respect for him as a player. Very good. Very good.
Talk about the quarterback. He's a seventh-year senior. He's really just now putting together a full season. I know he's had some fits and starts due to injuries. How difficult is it to have patience with a quarterback in this era of college football? And obviously you've seen results of that from Cade this year.
Yeah, I think it depends on who the head coach is. Probably that's part of it. What the situation is. It's hard to have patience because you have so much noise and fans, and as far as like just if a kid's not great as a freshman, and if the head coach is under a lot of pressure to win right then, you know, I mean, sometimes, you know, you go on to the next guy, right? You know, just to maybe appease the masses or whatever. So it's definitely harder than it used to be because, again, there's just, you know, everybody wants to win yesterday, and unfortunately, you know, quarterback play all football play is developmental, but especially at that position. And again, I've said that many times. If we just threw guys away or judged them based on what they did as a first-year starter, we missed out on some of the greatest quarterbacks that have ever played the game. So guys get better. You know, there's just not a lot of patience anymore. And there's the same thing on some of the kids too. Not a lot of patience for those guys. You know, they want it right now, and they have to develop. And you don't develop if you're not willing to, you know, really put the work in. So I think it's definitely harder, but I think there's plenty of reminders out there. This kid's one of them, that it's very much a developmental position and game. And there's so many. You can look in the NFL. It's the same thing in the NFL. I mean, there's some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now maybe weren't great early in their career. You know, but if you're made of the right stuff and you keep getting better, you know, you develop, you get better. The game will eventually slow down, and every now and then you have a guy that just transitions right away. You know, but that's not always the case. But sometimes that creates more pressure on other guys. But you can look at our quarterback. I mean, he was a first-year starter last year and got better as the year went, but made a lot of first-year starter mistakes. And you know, but his talent in the game has slowed down for him, and his talent is shining through. He's a really good player, and he's a second-year starter now, and he's developing. There's still more for him. But you know, and it's not just mental development; it's physical development, it's confidence, it's chemistry, it's everything together. So certainly have seen that in college football the last couple of years. You've seen, you know, guys that have hung around and got better. You know, there's a lot of guys that are in a hurry to go make a practice squad or get cut. And I think that's one positive with where we are in college football now. A lot of these kids will stay and develop, which will be good for them in the long term. So I think that's what you see right now with Cade for sure. He's gotten better. He's year 3. And I think we have the same thing with CV. And that's what we sold him in the recruiting process, you know, and he's getting better. You know, y'all don't really see it, but he's developing. And he's a kid that has some patience on the front end, saying, you know what, this is what I need. I'm 17 years old. You know, I know where I want to be. You know, all right, I'm going to redshirt. I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn. Next year I get a chance to, you know, to really get better. And he's really progressing. But he's kind of doing it in the dark. Eventually he will come to light. But, you know, sometimes kids get thrown out there, and it just is what it is. And if they don't perform well early, you know, we're so quick to just write them off, you know. And this kid here is, again, a good example. What'd you say he was? 17. There you go. Well, he looks like it. I mean, I wrote down he's a pro. This kid's a pro. I mean, knows how to play the game.
Well, that's part of the other thing, too. I mean, guys like Cade, as sophomore, 19-year-old sophomores are being compared to Bo Nix, Michael Penix, guys like this that are 25 years old and have seen a thing or two.
Yeah, and you know, and again, you know, a lot of those schools that they were originally at would have loved to have had them back, right? You know, so I think you have to have some patience. But again, you know, some of that goes to, you know, coaching situations and things like that, and you know, a lot of pressure to have to try to win, and you're looking for an answer, and sometimes the answer's right there. You just got to have some patience. You know, you just got to have a little patience. That's not a popular word these days, but I get it. But
What's your familiarity with Coach Brohm?
Just met him a few times. I don't know him well. We've crossed paths. Obviously, we've been in meetings together, and then I first met him when he was at Purdue, crossing paths on the recruit trail. I think I saw him in Georgia one day, maybe in Alabama one day, just out on the recruit trail. and then obviously just getting to know him once he's come in and become the coach at U of L.
What did the off week do for Wesco and kind of his recovery back from the ankle?
Just, gave him time and is helping him, just have more time to get ready to play. So I thought he, got off to a good start last week, but big day today and tomorrow. Big day, two really strenuous physical days, getting these guys ready to go play again on Saturday night. So hopefully he'll have a good week and be ready to go. But he's definitely made a lot of progress.
How about Tyler? Where's he at?
He won't be ready this week. He's still week to week, but not ready to make him day to day yet. But he's week to week, and same thing. He's made a lot of progress. He had the tightrope surgery, and so I've seen him with his scooter, and I've seen him with crutches, and I've seen him with a cane, and now he's got none of that. So he's getting better,
With the benefit of a second open date during the season, did you handle the self-scout kind of as you normally would? Was there anything maybe that you and the staff were able to kind of uncover as to what you might tweak here moving forward?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't share that, but for sure.
Are there some,
Yeah.
did you kind of dig deeper, just because you don't normally have two open dates in the same year?
Yeah, and so we use our staff very efficiently and crossover study. We break each other down as if we're playing each other. I think you get a good lens from the defensive side and offense studying their defense but certainly. And we do the self-scout about every 3 games. We do one offensively every week, but we do a crossover about every 3 games, just so kind of catching up and adding to that from the previous 3 games was good for us. But certainly some things that are obvious that everybody here go, well, we got to do that better. But then there are some other things that are a little more subtle, or maybe it's some tendencies or some tells that we might miss on one side of the ball. That we're able to maybe expose. So yeah, absolutely. That's a lot of time, and then obviously get a little head start on the next opponent. But we took a lot of time with our younger guys this open date too, with a bunch of competitive work with those guys, the low rep guys, low snap guys that really need to get better, in some areas. So we spent some time with them. I think that was good for us. And then guys just getting healthy. I think that was a big part of it. So we've got a big month ahead, tough challenge, but looking forward to it.
I talked to Tony Elliott a couple of weeks ago after they played Louisville, and he was saying that their freshman back, Isaac Brown, is probably as complete a 3-down type of back as a true freshman as he's seen. Obviously, he's seen some very good ones here. What has been your impressions watching him on film?
Ditto. I mean, he's really, really good. I mean, they use the running backs in the passing game a lot. I mean, they do. You have to cover them all the time. They'll show fake it and boot, and they'll throw it back to him out the back door. I mean, you have to be very disciplined, because they involve their backs, screen games, swing passes, in all aspects. And I think he's a complete player. I mean, he can catch the ball. He can run through the trash. He's physical, in the line of scrimmage, and then he can get on the edge. And he's got the speed and run away from you. So, but he's not afraid to protect, any of that stuff. I mean, it doesn't take you long to notice him. You would never think he's a freshman when you watch the tape, and especially some of the big plays that he's made in some critical situations. Again, a couple big ones late in the game, Friday night. So really good player. Really good player. Zero's a good player. 24's a good player. One kid came from Alabama. He's electric. Good finisher on the ball. I mean, they got good weapons involved. They're tight ends. They use them a lot. Within what they do, especially in their play action game.
Do they play more man than anybody y'all have seen thus far?
Not necessarily more than a couple other plays, maybe a little bit more than Virginia and Wake Forest. A little more than that, a little different style, a little more aggressive. We'll get up there and really challenge you and involve their safeties heavily in the run game. So, but they will play some coverage too. They mix it up. I mean, they're definitely on the aggressive side when it comes to, style of play.
Coach, what have Tajh Boyd and Sammy Watkins meant to the program, and what's it been like to see Tajh on the coaching side and bringing that side of his game?
I mean, they've just, I mean, it's, I don't have enough words for what they've meant to the program, honestly. I mean, Tajh was my first quarterback. He was a part of the Dandy Dozen, and, you know, just helped us build a great foundation and helped us do things that had never been done and things that we hadn't done in forever around here. Winning 10 games for the first time in 20 years. Winning the ACC for the first time in 20 years. These are things now that you think about that, I mean, you go 20 years. Now we don't win one in 2 years, and it's, we don't go to the playoff in 3 years or Final Four. It's like, what's wrong with everybody? So he did some things that were pretty special from a program standpoint. Great leader. He's a Clemson man. I mean, he really has just done an awesome job, and it's been fun now to be able to do life with him on this side of things and watch him grow as a coach. I mean, he's really, really talented. He's really gifted. He's very smart, understands the game. He's great, with the kids. He connects very well. Obviously, he loves Clemson and really believes in who we are as a program. So, it's just been awesome. Again, to watch what he did through his program and watch how he handled some adversity and some success, but to see him walk off that field and lead us to our first BCS win against Ohio State there in that Orange Bowl, was a pretty special moment. To see him as a father now and is really special. And then Sammy Watkins, he came here. I always say he's the most low maintenance superstar I've ever recruited. I would probably say he and Trevor Lawrence. Just, I mean, zero drama, zero anything. I mean, just showed up, ready to go, and just a great worker, and truly he's just a beautiful football player. I mean, just amazing to watch him practice. I mean, just different from the time he got here, and every single week that he was on the field, he created problems for people. I think about the kick return he had up in Maryland to help bring us back up there. It was unbelievable. I think we were down 18 maybe twice in that game, and I think about his first catch. He just ran a hitch and he took it to the house. I think about the RPO. This is kind of when RPOs were just kind of coming about that we hit on Georgia on the Bang 8, and just so many great plays from Sammy Watkins. Obviously, the way he finished his career with a record in the Orange Bowl, all the catches that he had. I mean, he was just amazing. I remember on the headsets vividly. We ran a little play early in the game. Might have been the first series or second series. Tajh Boyd rips off like a 40-yard run, and they couldn't catch him. And I remember, this is early, I'm on the headsets. I was like, boys, if they ain't catching Tajh, they're in trouble. They ain't catching none of the rest of these dudes. And Sammy was a problem. So just a great human being, one of my favorite guys. And same thing with him. I got a chance to be back in that same stadium and watch him make two of the biggest plays in the game in the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. I got a chance to see that live. He's a great father. He's a great husband. I mean, he's a great spirit. Love talking to him, and certainly incredibly deserving of this. But he was one of those guys that helped change us. He came in, he and Nuke, and that whole group of receivers. Martavis and Adam Humphreys and Sharon, Jerron Brown. That whole little group that we had back in 2011, which was Sammy's freshman year, just kind of help put us on another level with Tajh Boyd back there running the show. It was something to behold.
Sammy wants to come back here at some point and coach.
Yeah, he wants. Trying to get him to want him to come. We've talked about timing and all that. His kids are athletes. He's got some competitive athletes that he's got a lot going on there, but he does want to finish school at some point. So I've been trying to get him to come back and help us out and finish up. So we'll see.
Do you remember Sammy coming to camp, I kind of remember
Yeah.
walking out here and Jeff kind of nodding over that way, saying, "What'd you think about him the first time you saw him in person?"
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I had not seen him in person. Seen some tape, but he comes over and Brad Scott was recruiting him, and Brad was telling me all about him, and I watched him in our drills, and I was like, I mean, first of all, his work ethic was unbelievable. I remember he had on like a white T-shirt, and by the end of the day, it was just filthy and kind of torn, but he took 1,000,000 reps. I mean, he couldn't get enough reps. Everybody was practicing here, and Sammy practiced there. That was just the speed that he practiced at in camp. I mean, it was just it was amazing to watch him, and I couldn't believe how polished he was, how technically advanced he was. I mean, it was just easy. He was just such an easy guy to coach. He just got it, and he could do anything you needed him to do. He could do it. He just got it. I mean, he was so far ahead of most kids from a technical fundamental standpoint, and then you put in just the explosiveness that he had and the stickiness that he had with his ball skills. And you just knew this guy was going to be different. And I mean, I remember we came in that summer. I remember going into the 11th season. Dwayne Allen was like, Dwayne Allen was the guy that, he'd let me. He was captain type guy. He'd let me know what's going on. He's like, let me just tell you, this guy, Coach, we ain't got nobody like this guy. I mean, we had some dudes around here. He's like, he's unbelievable. Because you never know. You never know how a guy's going to translate, especially when you start loading up scheme and and then just making an adjustment to where everybody's really can be a peer to him athletically at least. But it didn't take long. I mean, literally, I think it was like day 2. We're like, this has got to go at least 2 days. I mean, this guy's he was just amazing. So great player, great career. Definite true Hall of Famer. Well deserved.
A little bit more insight you mentioned on the radio show, like the voting thing and how PAW Journey has kind of coordinated all that. Just so many guys on the roster and out-of-state guys, like how they kind of led the
Yeah,
charge
they do a
on
good
that.
job of that. I mean, they as far as like bringing people in to speak and getting everybody registered. They get like accountability points if they register and just really good education process to try to make sure they understand what how important it is, and then how to do early voting and all that type of stuff. So something they do a good job with.
Are you an early voting guy yourself, or what's kind of?
No, I don't even know how to do that. I'll go vote Tuesday. Fortunately, we live here in Clemson, South Carolina, so it's not too taxing of a process. But yeah, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go, but Kath will tell me. But I'll get that done sometime
With Tyler,
during the day.
with Tyler Brown, has there been any conversation about maybe potentially redshirting him with his injury?
I mean, that could. I mean, that's a possibility for sure. I mean, with where he is and the amount of games that he's played, and we've got 5 games left. So, yeah, I mean, if he misses a couple more, then that's a decision. But those are real-time things. You got to try to win the game you're playing, and you don't ever know what your situation is going to look like in 2 weeks, and so certainly something we can look at. But that'd be great if we could. But we just got to. It's a kind of a real-time decision based on your personnel.
Do you like that new redshirt rule where, like, just take Tyler, for instance, he could play 4 games and then play in an ACC championship and potentially 4 playoff games and still redshirt?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, if we didn't have it, we'd all be in trouble in college football. The reason we have that rule is because you didn't have kids available to play in bowl games, and now all of a sudden you're having a kid that's redshirted. Maybe you're having to burn a red shirt just because you don't have anybody else in the bowl game. I can't remember who there was a quarterback. I don't know where it was. This is a few years back, several years back, but they didn't have anybody else. And he had to give up a year to be the quarterback in the bowl game. And that's kind of what I think led to the 4-game rule. I don't remember who that was. For some reason I want to say it was Ole Miss. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But it was a kid that hadn't played all year. He was redshirt, and they played him in the bowl games. They didn't have a quarterback. and he lost a year of eligibility. So they ended up, that kind of helped, I think. Coaches had pushed for that forever through the AFCA. And that's when they came out with the 4-game rule. And we're like, this is awesome, because at least it gives you some time, you know, to figure some things out. And it also gave you a chance to, like, you know, we did that with Skowski that year, remember? You know, we were able to hold him. He had the best gig going, right? He came back and he played the last, I think he played in 1 game against Georgia Tech, and then he played the last 3 games and all the postseason, all the way to the national championship, and saved his year. So I think that was good. And then you had, again, unintended consequences. Now you had guys, you know, now the other side of it comes and you say, okay, I'm playing for, all right, I'm redshirt, or I'm opting out, you know, because I want to keep my year. So you see that all over college football now. We've had that here. And, you know, that was kind of an unintended aspect of it. But then with the way the portal has come about and the windows, you know, there's a lot of teams now that, I mean, every Final Four team had kids opt out last year. So, you know, they did, that's part of the reason why they said, okay, it's 4 games plus the postseason doesn't count. Because, you know, if a kid played 4 games and now you got 5 guys that have gone in the portal and left, and you're trying to play a postseason game, just health and safety of your team. But this kid's already played 4 games. You don't want to have to burn a whole year for 1 game. So that's kind of, I think, drove that. And honestly, I hope they do away with all that. I wish they'd just go 5 years and be done with it. Just let everybody play 5 years, and just clean it up, you know. So you don't have, you know, guys that are 26, you know, and you know all the medicals and all the stuff. Just you get 5 years, and I think that would really clean things up for everyone. I think it would stop a lot of the opt-outs too, you know, because I get it, you know, if a kid's not happy where he's at and he's played 4 games and he wants to move on, wants to save his year. I get that. But in this, if you just went to 5 years, guys would play, and so now that keeps your rosters a little bit more intact, you know, to finish the season. So that's something that I don't know where that is on the docket, but I would love to see that. Just get 5 years. You know, you play 5 years. It doesn't matter how many games you play, whatever. You get 5 years. So that would eliminate some of that stuff. Because you do get in a situation with a couple kids where you're like, guys, he's played 3 games or 4 games, and man, you'd like to hold him, but you've got 3 games left, and all of a sudden you really need him for that game. You know, so if you had that 5 years, it really wouldn't matter. You know, you could, you know, your special teams, and now we're going to 105, and how rosters at 105, that's going to be a problem because the rosters are going to go like that. You know, and it's not the NFL where you can always stay at 105, whatever your number is, right? We don't have access to players, so your roster's going to dwindle down. And if you've got some guys that are trying to redshirt or whatever, that's why I wish they'd just do away with that, so you could just keep the depth best possible available.
You would keep the medical redshirt?
Keep the medical redshirt?
Yeah, in case
well,
of
I would say if a guy lost a year due to an injury, you know, maybe you get 1 medical opportunity, but you know. 5, because right now what it is, if you redshirt and then you lose a year to injury, you can get a medical. So like Cole Turner, for example, he's got another year if he wants it. Basically he could be a redshirt freshman right now and could have 3 years left. On his clock, he's a redshirt sophomore, but because he redshirted and then last year he was done by game 1 or whatever it was, 1 and a quarter. He could get that year back. But I just think 5 years, it would clean it up. Maybe you get 1 medical opportunity, and then that way you at least can manage the rosters, and then everybody could play. Kids don't have to feel like they got to leave or they got to stop playing. You know, because, again, I get that side of it too. If they're not happy or they don't like their situation, they don't want to waste a year, you know, that way they can keep playing and keep developing, and then they can move on afterwards and not lose anything.
Take a couple more for Coach.
Where do you see the most development from Cade this year?
The most development
Yeah,
is
like
take care of the ball, good decision making. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, last year just too many negative plays, and that's just decision making. Whether it was run game, taking TFLs, he took too many sacks, 100% on him. Obviously, we had too many turnovers, fumbles in particular by him. You know, he wasn't terrible throwing interceptions, but he had a few, you know, bad ones. He's just been a much better decision maker, and he's just, you know, cut down on all the avoidable negative plays, and he's taking care of the ball, you know, so much better. You know, games just slowed down for him.
How much of that is the game has slowed down versus, like, I don't know, how many times last year do you feel like he was like, I gotta make this play, I gotta be a superstar on this one, as opposed to maybe now he kind of realizes the bigger picture?
Yeah, I think that's just maturity, which is the second thing I would say is just physical maturity, but also mental maturity, and that just comes from experience. You know, that's just something you just have to go through things. You have to experience it, and if you got the right work ethic, and certainly you got the talent to go with it, you get better. And he's got unbelievable work ethic. He's a very smart kid, and he loves feedback. And so, you know, when you're able to watch yourself and really see your mistakes, I just think you can really grow. And so and again, he got better. You saw it in the year last year. He got better as the season went. He really finished well. I think that propelled him. He's always had a lot of confidence in his ability to throw the ball, as we have. I mean, he's a really gifted thrower. I'd say the other aspect is, you know, and it's part of what I was saying about decision making, but using his legs. He was a non-factor for us last year, and he's a fast kid. I mean, this kid can really, really run, but he was almost a 0. He was like a 2, and we only needed him to be a 5. And this year he's like an 8, you know, and it's just because he's so much more opportunistic. And patient, and that's again a reflection of the game just has slowed down for him. So you know we couldn't. You know, last year it was he wanted to make every play. You know, it's 2nd and 10, and he's sitting there and they're playing coverage, and he's holding the ball, and everybody's drop 8, and he could have made it 3rd and 3, but now it's 3rd and 10. You know, because he's trying to make every first down on every play. So I just think his experience in managing the game and all those things, just his knowledge, his ownership of what we're doing, you know, year 2 has been the biggest thing.
Has the efficiency directly led to play calling and game planning and having better faith in?
When you know more, you can do more, right? I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, when you know more, you can do more. I mean, I always use math as an example. You can't do algebra until you can add and subtract and long division. You know, you can do more when you know more. And it's just a process that we all go through in education and learning. So it's no different at quarterback. Certainly, he's just got more on his plate this year because he knows more. So because of that, he can do more. And then we're better around him. You know, so it's not just him. I mean, we weren't as good as we needed to be around him last year. There was plenty of opportunities where we could have made some plays that were there that we didn't make. But just talking about him and his area, you know, he needed to physically improve. He needed to take another step mentally, you know, as far as just applying the experience and slowing the game down. And a big part of that was minimizing the avoidable negative plays and really being a factor with his legs. And he's really done a good job of that.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Phil Mouthful.